What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, the dad bod god himself, the bald, the beard, and the fucking beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight we have a great show lined up for you and an amazing guest. I'm really excited. But before we get into my guest and I tell you who it is, I want to take a quick second, a quick pause for that cause to help mention some of our sponsors who help us keep the lights on up in this Austin household. First up, we've got healthvape.com. If you or someone you know is one of those nasty cigarette smokers or one of those vape people, you need to check out healthvape.com. It is your healthy vaping alternative. All of their products are no nicotine, no addictive or harmful chemicals. They restore your energy, they give you a boost, and they're vitamin infused. So check out healthvape.com. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, is sleefs.com. That's SLEEFS, sleefs.com. This is your one-stop shop for all your athletic wear. If you have an athlete in your life or you are an athlete, head over to sleefs.com. They've got armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, headbands, mouth guards, boots, and they've even got dirty boxes. You've heard me rave about these dirty boxes. They sent me boxes of these boxes. And I've got to say, they stay fresh, they stay dry, they stay comfortable, and they've got a really funky designs all over the front of them to keep that person giggling, that special person giggling when the belt buckle comes undone at the end of the night. So check out sleeps.com, use that promo code MWAPOD, and get yourself some of those dirty boxes. Now, my guest this evening is a former WWE NXT Tag Team Champion. He's a former WXW Heavyweight Champion. He is Axel Tischer, and we're going to get into it right now. Axel, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me this evening or afternoon where you're from.
Yeah, it's afternoon, 1 hour after noon, basically had my lunch. So let's go. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. Great energy on that moderation. Hell yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. That's one thing that I do here is like I like to bring a high level of energy. I like to have fun conversations, and you were definitely someone I've seen on other interviews, and I thought, you know what, this is a man that I believe that me and him could have an amazing conversation. I'm really excited to have you on. There's a lot that I want to get into, Axel. First off, being from Germany and growing up. Was wrestling, for you, like how obtainable was the goal of eventually reaching like a WWE or like I suppose a WCW back in the day when we were kids, but how obtainable was that goal in your mind back as a child?
The goal was, of course, a big one. It was a big dream of mine, but realistically, it was not really, attainable. It was kind of like, yeah, it's a dream, so maybe pays out, but probably not. Let's try to get a real job for now. But in the end, it played out very well because you know dreams can come true, and in my case, they did. Even if I was not aiming for that stars, so to speak. But in the end, like it worked out great. So, but I talked a lot of times in different interviews, but I tried to make that short. So where I'm from, the eastern part of Germany, before they had like the curtain, the Iron Curtain, like the wall, we split it Germany to East and West, and I'm from the East part, so more like the Russian influenced part. And when the wall was still up, it was like DDR, so not the German Republic. It was like the Democratic German Republic something. So, but we did not have any like cable television. We did not any music from the West part. So we jeans, pants, different kind of fruits. So you did not have an access to that because that was American side. The Russian side was kind of different. So we lived more in the communism. So we could not watch professional wrestling because professional wrestling is more like the Western community. What's the word? Kind of like
Style.
Western culture ish, right?
Yeah.
So it was not. There was amateur wrestling, of course, and judo and all that stuff, but not an entertainment part like with professional wrestling, the showcase and everything. So then later, I think, so 98, the wall came down, and I think start of the 90s, the east part of Germany also had cable television. So my parents watched it, I saw it, I fell in love with it because I was a big fan of cartoons like He-Mans and Turtles, larger-than-life superstars. So, and for me, I was hooked right away. And I, as a kid, six years old, I want to become a wrestling superstar. But it's kind of like, sure. Okay. Why not? Yeah, do. And then later when I was 13, I discovered with a friend of mine together, like a wrestling school, not a professional wrestling school, just like a club where some people gather and, trained wrestling. And some of the boys, they did like some seminars with some professionals, passed on the knowledge, and, they taught us how to fall and the first techniques and whatever. And then later just picked it up, like had my first matches, had around like 3 or 4 matches a year. The rest was just training and just having fun with it, just, growing the passion of finally becoming somebody who can perform in front of audience maybe on a weekly basis. And then I think, I know 2006, I had a car, did the driver license. Then I drove 2 times a week from Dresden, 2 hours up to Berlin to a professional wrestling school, got my ass kicked for 2 hours, and then drove back 2 hours again. So twice a week. A lot of dedication, of course. I lost a lot of money, gasoline, etc., and of course time, but it was all worth it. And then I believe around 2010 and 2011, then I picked up some steam in the German wrestling scene. I had at least once a week, 1 match, and then got more established as a WXW member, or just part of the standard roster of the guys who always performed at every show. And then sooner or later just picked up some steam inside the WXW roster, just had some successes there, won some titles. And sooner or later, so for me, my focus was never WWE, because as we all know, WWE has this picture of a WWE wrestler, like the 7 feet tall, 6'5",
Back
whatever,
to the shit house,
like crazy muscle guys and everything, And for me, it was never that interesting because I did not watch WWE in that time. I stopped watching around 2006, 2007, I guess. At that time, TNA was more interesting for me because of guys like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, etc. X Division,
TNA was
great time. And then it continues with like 2008, 2009, Ring of Honor, and like watch all the stuff before. I was more kind of in the Ring of Honor wrestling. Then I discovered Japan more, like Pro Wrestling Noah, still one of my favorites. So I was not a WWE guy. I was not watching WWE. I was doing my own stuff, watching my own stuff, and more like watching the stuff from promotions where I potentially maybe could work, if that makes sense. And then 2014, I got a message from a former wrestling colleague. He's now a German commentator, Sebastian Hackel. And he asked me, hey, WWE is looking for German guys. Are you want to do a tryout in England? Yeah, sure, why not? Because still the biggest league and whatever. But for me, it was kind of, yeah, let's make that, tryout. Let's get some great experience, and I know you get paid for it as well. So let's meet some guys and whatever. But they will not hire me, never. So, but
Yeah.
still, I'm a competitor. I'm competitive. I'm a performer. I'm an athlete. And for me, also things that they will not hire me. Let's fuck the tryout a little bit up. Let's give them all what I got. And I know I'm not, probably not in that time. Right now, a little bit more. I'm not that guy who can like cut great promos. Still, right? Promos, I would say they're good, average good. It's enough, but there are tons of more better talker than me. But I know in the ring, that's my playground. I talk with my actions, and in that ring, I know like a lot of like drills, and I did in that time also a lot of like jiu-jitsu and MMA. So my condition tank is full. It's kind of like infinity full.
Go all day.
That makes sense. I know how to recover really quick, and I got those techniques in there, and I can move like a cat, even if I'm a little bit bigger than the usual independent wrestler. So
But
for
that's
me,
the
was
thing.
yeah,
I was just going to say, that's the thing. You mentioned like not being the best at being a promo guy, but for what you can do in the ring, you don't necessarily, a performer doesn't necessarily have to even say a word. They can get over by facial expressions,
yes,
movement, moves in the ring, even certain looks. I mean, you look at, Kane, for example, who didn't talk for years and just got
yeah,
over by movements. And that's
yeah,
kind of where I saw you with Sanity. Like when you were in Sanity, you were very quiet, spoke very seldomly, but your body language and stuff and movement in the ring told the story of what's going on, told
yeah.
what kind of character that you were portraying.
Exactly. It is still it's not an excuse, because
No.
cutting a promo and just telling a story not only with your body and in the match, it's just also present yourself. That's part of the whole deal. So you have to be able to do it. But
Yeah.
some of the skills are stronger than the other. So, and again, like in that time especially, I knew kind of like, okay, promo, I have no idea. And especially now, just knowing what WWE wants to have kind of for a promo, it's like you only can fail if you don't know, kind of. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, I just went to the tryout, just did my best. Obviously impressed. So I got the call a few months later that they want to hire me for developmental. So that being said, I got signed as the probably first German who really got signed to a big contract. There was a German guy before, his name is Bruckers. He was signed, I guess, for a couple months or weeks.
It was like mid
He was,
2000s.
yeah, no, it was mid 90s, 95.
Yes. Yes. I remember big guy, jacked, short
Yeah,
brown hair.
bodybuilder, just looked like a WWE wrestler. So I will not say I'm the first like German in WWE, probably the first German in NXT, of course, but it doesn't matter, like those first times. But in the end, like for me, more important was, hey, my 6-year-old me back in the past when he saw Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, and Bret Hart, which been my
Yeah.
favorites in that time. He's just high-fiving me right now because I just made it without even, maybe I wanted it inside of my mind, but I never tried to go on that path. And I believe that was the success behind it. When you try it so hard, and I know so many people who still want to do tryouts and who still want to get signed there, they never will, because they're probably so desperate. And I never wanted it, but then when I got the choice, of course I take it. Of course, yeah, working with WWE is always like a childhood dream come true. But I never was aiming for that opportunity. So maybe there was a lucky incident, or maybe like a secret manifestation or something.
But you know what? Maybe because they see so many people like try out around the world, right? And they can smell the ones that are just like this is my everything. This is eager. This is thing. And
Mm.
the people that go in there going, you know what, this is a cool fucking experience to be a part of. And I'm going to love being here and whatever. If I get signed, cool. But if not,
Yeah,
then I'm going to continue doing my thing. And I
yeah,
think those are the people that they probably look at and go, you know what, he can let it go or she can let it go for that moment and be in the ring and not
yeah,
be caught up in their head. Because I think when you're caught up in your head being in the ring, that's where shit's going to go like sour and you're going to have, you know, injuries and or hurt someone else potentially.
yeah. I think like also the big part on that is as well that they have to, look for that somebody who is needed right now. So if they are looking for a German guy, hey, I'm blue eyes, blonde hair. So for American, I'm the typical German bad guy, right?
Yeah.
So and then even if let's be a little bit out of the box, if I do this, right, probably
Yeah.
think, ooh, here we go. There's the German guy right there. No, but seriously, I think it also has to fit to the profile what they're looking for right now. So if they're looking for girls, or they had tryouts for NXT UK, so they're definitely not looking for some American boys or whatever. So that's the entire thing of it. So if you fit to the profile and if you have good behaviors and you be a true professional or you have that something, they pay attention and they will have a look and they will look closer. And then eventually, if you do great and if you're not a total dickhead or whatever, they give you an opportunity for lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that's the thing if you're not a total dickhead as well, because I think they probably look at people who are going to be able to be easy to do business with, because, you
Yeah.
know, at the end of the day, they don't want to bring in someone who's going to be fucking difficult when they're like, okay, this is what we need you to do. No, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
at the end of the day, they want someone who's going to be easy to transition within business, which is
Especially for the
understandable.
developmental part. If you already made an effing superstar, whatever, and you have the reputation of just making millions for a company, then it's probably nobody will care. But developmental, you start there, you're walking on eggshells first. You want to stay employed, and yes sir or no sir, and that's it. And also culture of wrestling, right? If you're new to something, you have to pay your dues. It doesn't matter how long you did it before. So now you're in the big leagues. You start from zero. You learn from zero. And that's what I did. Like I knew some how to wrestle before there, but I just learned it from zero again, WWE, and I'm very grateful for that. I had great coaches who taught me the way I work right now, plus what I have known before, which elevated me quicker. I did not had to learn bumping or anything. I just had to learn like a new foundation how to wrestle. For example, I learned how to call a match on the fly at WWE. Before that, it was all like I have to memorize it. It was really hard, like, and just psychology and everything. It was so many like great coaches there and names, and it's amazing what you can learn. It's just quarter of a year, for example, and then you switch classes. You go to the next coaches, next level. So I'm really grateful for that. But still, you have to be open-minded and again, shut up, listen, learn. Yes sir, no sir, and then success comes by itself.
When you made the move from Germany to the United States,
Mhm.
how was that as you know, because I imagine, you know, like you've grown up, you've lived in Germany your whole life. Now you get signed and you're basically moving over to the United States, which would be overwhelming.
Yeah.
How did you find the change and also the culture difference? Like, was there a bit of a culture shock going from Germany to the
Yeah.
US?
Yeah, a lot. For the folks who've never been in Germany, or never been in Germany, never been in the States, it's kind of day and night, even if it's quite the same culture, but actually not. So Germany is very stoic, very efficient, but a lot of times it's quite yeah. The vibes, especially in Florida, are way better. So because people are nice, greeting each other. In Germany, is just hello, guten Tag, and goodbye, auf Wiedersehen. But very stoic, like very like forward. You do not ask anybody how are you if you don't know him. or if you're not
Really?
interested. Yeah, it's like I hear from a lot of guys, like especially you from Australia. So in Australia, it's the same. Everybody's mellow, everybody's nice, and good vibes everywhere. And hey, mate, how are you? You do not call anybody mate if you do not know him. It's not what you
Yeah.
do. Like me as a German, I used to the American culture and like the English culture because I worked with a lot of like American guys. For example, toured with them, Japan or whatever. Whereas also we both nations had the culture shock in Japan, for example. But
Yeah.
living there and just being there for a couple of weeks is a whole difference. So when I arrived there, I did not have really the time like to settle down, just enjoy it, and like what you said, overwhelming, yeah, inside. But I always try to kind of like push my feelings a lot of down just to stay cool in my head. So I had to arrive and just had this tunnel vision, this focus. Just let's get this going, let's get this started. But then I had to learn a little bit more of English because my English right now is very very needy. So I can speak with it, we can communicate,
Very
I
good.
understand it. I guess I can speak it as well. But in that time, I was able to speak it, but more towards, hey, I do not know the words, but I know how to describe it. So you can tell me the words, and if I'm, in the mood, I can remember it. But
Yeah.
WWE hooked me up with an English class. So I had one-on-one sessions once a week for 1 year, and I had a lovely lady. She taught me a lot of words, and she taught me a lot of like the business stuff I need to know. For example, I did not knew the word insurance or deposit or what is a deposit, because like I try to translate the words I know in German,
Yeah.
but there's sometimes not the translation for that because
Yeah.
it's a different word and
Different
it does not
alphabets and
it does
different
not make
dialects. Yeah.
sense. So but then again, I started with some guys, and one guy was from England, so he helped me as well. But he had to cultivate as well because English and American English is different as well, right?
Yeah.
So aluminum foil and like aubergine is eggplant or whatever, like funny stuff. But in the end, for me was then finally the point where I got really the culture shock in when we had like a culture cross training, and it was ridiculous. Like there are some guys from that company where my English teacher is employed. The boss of the company had like a culture cross training. Three
Yeah.
Indian dudes, one guy from Serbia, me as the German. I think the British guy was there as well, and then also maybe one of our Mexican fellas as well. But they explained us the American culture, and in the end, I went out and was like, "This is full of crap," because there's so
Yeah.
many BSs in there, like where they explained us how to make friends. That you have to decide it over lunch and dinner if you want to spend time with him. Like
Oh,
if I'm
get the
not,
fuck out.
yeah, it's like well, I asked some guys, what? No, that's not true. Who does that? Like silly BS. Where and for me, it's like I love to take the piss out of that. I love to make them mad because I try
Yeah.
to make them uncomfortable as possible. Because with me, it's the thing. I get back in my teenager years when I was in the
Yeah.
school, and when I kind of like had this vibe of like this teacher is it's not cool, so let's try to take the piss out
Just
of him.
fuck with them.
And yeah, I was to fuck with so bad. He hated me so much. And my English teacher, she hated. Right now, she's not employed there anymore, but she hated the
Yeah.
boss because the boss was very touchy with a lot of like the
Oh.
coworkers, like shoulder
Oh.
rubbing and shit, like really crazy
It's
stuff. So
inappropriate shit. Yeah. Right.
inappropriate shit, and you could tell like a lot of felt uncomfortable with him. And then I
And
kind of
this
like,
and this guy's and this guy's telling you like, yeah, you go up to another random dude that you just see and go, hey, would you like to go out for dinner and get to know each other?
no,
And
no, it's kind of so the way he explained it to me was kind of, yeah, when you meet somebody and you have a nice conversation and you want to go to the next level, and I'm like, wait a minute, is it dating stuff right now? You want to go to the next level? How about we
yeah,
kiss and then we go to bed or something?
yeah.
But then he kind of like, yeah, when you go to the next level, then you end the conversation with, hey, we should get lunch together. And then when you have lunch together and it's another good meeting, then you can decide if you want to go to dinner and then have some drinks later on. Is it what the fuck? You kidding me right now? And I really just sit there and told them like, what the fuck? Is that real? And everybody was looking and said, that makes no sense. If we meet in the bar and we have a nice conversation and we go to the point where I say, hey, you want to grab some beer next time when, I don't know, the game is on or you want to hang out? Yeah, just give me a number, I text you. And then otherwise, you do not have the conversation with that guy. If I feel like this guy is not cool or whatever, just, I still be polite and say, how about you fuck off? I don't know, but in that kind of step, I do not go with you to lunch like I would hook you up for a date or whatever. It's like stupid.
But it's like some friend that you just met. It's like you met someone. Oh, that's a really cool person. You don't go, hey man, you're a really cool dude. How about we go grab a bite to eat? Like,
boom, come back. You want to grab some lunch? Yeah, cool. Let's go.
Yeah.
No,
that's
whatever,
the language of love in every other country. That's like, hey, I was saying lunch, but let's go be more than
eating
friends.
is sacred, right? That's of course. So, but in that case, for me, was kind of I do not understand this place, and then also, I did not got along with. So, I'm a happy guy. I like to laugh. I like to have nice conversation, everything. But my inner German tells me you have to be efficient when you are in your profession. So when I'm at wrestling and anything, and I figured out how to lose up a little bit. But when I started there, for me it was sport and competition. So it's not about laughing around. It's giving 100%, being focused, being professional as possible. And then for the hard part also was like understanding like terms and phrases and whatever. And a lot of times was for me, I'm not aware of that anybody makes a joke to me. So I was not laughing. I do not run around like I don't know, but I'm kind of serious in that matter. And I'm also an honest person. So I remember starting NXT, we had to sit around for about a month and watch a beginner's class. And it was like, okay, yeah, the first 2 days, it's okay because we have to settle, we have to move into apartments, you have to buy furniture. Fine, let's have this 3 hours time to sit there and watch beginner's class. But then end of the week, I was kind of, hey, is there a chance I could go in there? Because nothing against beginners, everybody had from start to zero, but I'm kind of gotten tired watching people learning rolls and bumps and figure out what to do after they're locking up and whatever. And again, no offense, everybody has to learn, but I'm there just to make money because they invest money, and I am there to make money for the company and for myself. So I want to get into the ring. And also I was constantly wrestling every week, and then you're sitting there for a week without taking bumps, your body gets sore, right? And it's the resting body. If you stop doing what you're doing, your knees are not so good anymore. Your neck is getting tight. Your back is kind of, you start to rusting. And I did not want to rust because I was, a well-oiled machine in that time, and nowadays as well. But it's not fun to sit there and just watch.
Why do you think that they make like new signees sit there and watch for like a period of a week or a month?
That was nowadays. It's they scratched that because that was the old system, and I was starting with NXT where now head coach Matt Bloom was transitioning over to the head coach from Bill DeMott, and Bill DeMott had a lot of stupid stuff going on there. From we have to kill the talents before TV days to, hey, catch a whatever, like almost 200-pound heavy bag crossbody outside where a lot of people got concussed. And also like, hey, let's make them watch because they have to learn to be patient. So, and they had to transition over there. So, and I had like a discussion with Matt Bloom because he saw me like, what's going on? You look so bad. He said, yeah, I do not want to watch beginner's class anymore. That sucks. So I have some stuff to do. So if you don't mind, I would take care of my living instead of sitting here 3 hours. And when it's done, I come to the PC for like the weight class and anything. But I know how to wrestle. I do not want to see anybody who learns to do a headlock takeover or whatever. Again, no offense to those guys. I had to learn it as well. But that's 3 hours wasting your time. And then he started losing up with that, and that we could do the warm-ups, we could do the rolls, the drills, and then we had to, like we started with like 25% and 50%. And then I just got straight away skipped the beginners class and got in with Norman Smiley, great coach, and started like doing like wrestling on the fly and everything, and had the chance just to work with some other great talents in that class. So like in the end, it was a struggle for me with beginning life in America, in Florida. And Florida is great, love it. If I would ever live again in America, would be Florida the choice number one. And starting life as a WWE NXT, let's say trainee superstar, just to develop my skills and work inside that system.
How did you, like, you mentioned Bill DeMott there at the start. Did you get to train under Bill DeMott at all before, or was
No, just met
Matt
him. I met him once when I had my medicals in the States. I got flown in to Orlando just to have a tour through the Performance Center, met Triple H there, met Bill DeMott there, and, had a nice chat with him. So nothing serious, nothing major. Then we watched some classes where I could pick up a little bit of his weird vibes, but again, nothing personal. Don't know this guy, never trained with him, just, And wrestling is a lot of times also full of BS with like those, we have to make them whatever, which is not necessary. And no, not quit. It's kind of, a lot of times we had presentations where we always say, oh, let's open up the zoo, because like some sponsors or some other like guys came through the Performance Center, so we all had to get dressed appropriately in WWE training gear. And it's kind of like, all right, they're coming through, so start the training. And everybody was doing stuff, and anything they came through, just be like, oh, that's a nice place, that looks impressive. Yeah, as soon as they went out, all right, stop, go home. So it's like, it's wrestling. It's like behind the curtain, let's make it look like shiny as possible, and then when everything is done, there's the off button. So, and a lot of times in wrestling, you do some stuff. For example, hey, let's see how many rolls you can do before you throw up. Like, just, and that's the fun part, because it's you have to go to a breaking point, and you have to find out your limits, and then you have to overcome that limits just to have like, bigger tolerance for, like, let's say, physical activities or whatever. And in a lot of times you have some BS that, for example, you have to show up for a television taping at noon, right?
Yeah.
But then you sit in a room for 2 hours because the meeting is till 2, and then after that they tell you what to do for TV or if you do anything. So why not telling the people, hey, the meeting ends 2, boom, be there before 2, point, right? No, let them wait for 2 hours or longer, because they have no life or anything. And in the end, if you not arrive at noon, you get shit for being not on time, but you're still there for 2 hours. That's some wrestling BS, which in my opinion is not needed, but everything is there for a reason. And I think some people, and it's always one asshole rules for everybody, who takes too much liberties with that. So, like in the army, everybody has to pay for it. But yeah.
So, yeah, you mentioned with NXT, going in there and obviously what they're looking for, people not being, dickheads and assholes and stuff like that. In your time with NXT, did you ever see like someone come in there who just basically had, like wrestling etiquette? And I think if you haven't been behind the curtain, so to speak, it's hard to explain. Like, like wrestling fans know about wrestling etiquette, but once you've been behind the curtain, you really understand it. Did you ever see someone that just went in there who was just, I don't want to use the term mark, but like either maybe a mark for themselves or a little bit full of, high on their own supply, so to speak, come into NXT? And then like, how were they perceived by you and the rest of your peers and coaches?
Depending, yeah, of course. So not everybody's the same. Not everybody has the same influence, and also, it's an international business, so a lot of multicultural, and you have to understand that some people, for example, out of wrestling, just that's the Indian folks. There's a guy, he got released, like G Drama, awesome person. he's so down to earth, and he came there and he did everything without just moaning and everything. And he's been a great person, mature adult. We always called him Captain because he had this like great mustache, and again, nice guy. So you would not know what a superstar he is at home. So for Christmas break, he flew home. They had a parade for him. He's one of the biggest amateur wrestlers there, like mud wrestling, where they just wrestle in the dirt with the diaper on, and you kill people there, literally. So, and in Orlando, he sits there and he's easy, and when he speaks with you, he's very polite, and so. And for a guy like him, just being like so down to earth, it's heads up, because again, he comes home and everybody knows him, and people give him money, and he's rich and wealthy and everything. So, and there was another guy also from India, and he was more younger, he was more cheeky, and he also was a big superstar. He was a kabaddi player there. It's a big game in India. Do not understand the game there, but it's very rough. And he was also a tough guy, but he was more a guy like he took liberties with the way, like, because okay, he's an Indian talent. WWE really want to have like a big part of the Indian market. So many people there. And he knew that, and he knew that if somebody gives him shit, he goes to the other guy who takes care of him, and he's good. And I think some other guys, like, the best part is, so when you start in wrestling, you start as a young talent, and you have to learn. You have to make your experience. You have to make your mistakes. You have to get your head washed. You probably, after the first matches, if they went well, you build up a little ego that a little bit full of yourself. And now imagine this happens when you start in WWE. You're already in the biggest company on the earth, right? You make a great salary. And you have all this lights and everything, right? And they tell you that you will be a superstar. They tell you are a WWE NXT superstar. And as an independent wrestler, you kind of ate shit, and now you're on the big league. So now you have something earned, but you remember how it is like to be there in the dust and just grow up, and just from setting up the ring to I don't know, and then
traveling town to town,
traveling town to town, and you're traveling town to town just to set up the ring, probably, or have like an in-ring seminar, but you do not wrestle. And if you wrestle, you probably just have a spot in a rumble where you get the shit slapped out of you and then dumped out of the ring, and then you have maybe a match which is a get-over match for other guy. So, but the same things happen in NXT as well, but under like the bigger umbrella of WWE. And then you have those guys are kind of like hanging out with some, let's say some independent veterans, and they give their little mannerisms about, oh God, my back hurts. I do not take any bumps today, blah blah blah. Just being, full of themselves, with being a grizzled veteran. And then you have this young boy or this rookie just talking like a freaking veteran. They say, dude, you haven't done anything. You're here for a cup of coffee, so shut the fuck up. You take that bump today. Kind of want to politic you taking a bump or not, or do not want to take your ideas and kind of repeat the same ideas just that they can say it. So, but this is just funny shit. But I never really mentioned like a big guy who really like just got a lot of heat. Like some people come in and you do not know where they come from. You do not know, maybe it's a different culture, and you have to understand also maybe they have a different contract, because not everybody signs the same contract maybe you would sign, or not everybody has the same contract I signed. I know some guys probably a lot of like sour about like salary, but they have to, they agreed to their money deal. So why are you mad about the other guy who just been smarter enough just to negotiate a little bit more? So you cannot say this guy gets so much money and he has to do this and that. Yeah, he maybe has it in his contract. So you have to understand, and you cannot be sour about it. You have to change your contract then. Stuff like this.
Exactly. Become a better negotiator in the business.
Yeah, that's also a thing you learn there, that eventually they do not ask you for, you want more money or something, you want to go on less shows and get more money, or I don't know, you have to figure that out there.
Well, no business in the world is going to go up to an employee and go, "Hey, are you right earning the money you're on now? Like, you don't want any more, do you? Right?"
Yeah, they probably ask you to take less. Want to take
Yeah,
a pay cut?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. You just like yeah, but it's funny that like how like so many different cultures could come through one place, and there could be like you never really hear of like I don't know if there's ever big arguments back in NXT in the training facility or anything like that. Because when you take people from different cultures and different like upbringings and stuff like that, there's always going to be like a weird mesh and clash, especially when you're bringing in people from all over the world, really. But for you, you were put, in NXT with Sanity, with Eric Young, Big Damo, Nikki Cross. How did that stable come to be and form?
Uh, that's a great story. So first off, I got teamed up with Sawyer Fulton, who's Madman Fulton right now in Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
And he got out of unstable, not on television, but for house shows, by Sammy Callahan and Marcus Louis. And they tried to do the Sanity part with them. But Sammy decided to leave NXT because he was not happy anymore. And then Marcus Louis got released on one of those release deals, I think in January 2016. So with Sawyer was the thing that he was pissed about it. He was soured because it's again it's nothing personal when somebody gets released. It's a business,
No.
and you have to understand. But he was kind of soured because he was looking for an opportunity to do something, and they took it away. But they didn't took it away; they just paused it because they still want to have him for that group. But he had to find some different players. And then I was kind of floating around, trying to figure out what to do, and had some ideas. And they put me together with him. And I always try to be chameleon. Just you put me on the white wall and turn white. And then therefore we got teamed up. No, we got put together and we teamed up on the Coconut Loops, which are the smaller house show tour stops in Florida. That's why Coconut Loop. And it went well. The first match was kind of like, nothing against you, dude, but I'm kind of like a Mark Child, so I do not want to do tag team moves because all of my tag team partners get, taken out or released. So I don't care. So good. I just want to wrestle. And we had some matches and house shows against High Pros, Mojo Riley, and Matt Cardona, former Zack Ryder. And it turned out great. And then later on, in that time, our coach, Adam Piers, he came to us and said, guys, they like you as a tag team. So keep doing what you guys doing. The reports are great. And I know there's something coming and you're probably a part of that. Okay, sounds great. You get enthusiastic and everything. So that means TV debut, whatever. So they put us together, and on one NXT TV date, I think it was the day where Eric Young debuted for NXT. He came out and challenged Samoa Joe for a title match. And he kind of like Eric Young got introduced to us by William Regal. So he put us together, said, fellas, this is Eric Young, this is Sawyer, this is Axel. So here's the idea, blah, blah, blah. And he just mentioned that Triple H has this idea about this group of psychos. And he wants to have the group like they are the guys in Smoking Aces. And I knew this movie and Sawyer as well and EY as well, but we talked about that later. So Smoking Aces, I don't know if that movie is familiar to you, but for the lads who's not familiar with the movie, it's kind of a movie about a hit. So a lot of like cleaners or like mercenaries need to kill somebody in the hotel, and he lives in the president's suite. And one of the guys who are required for the hit are the Tremor brothers, and the Tremor brothers are kind of like this kind of like skinhead punk trio brothers who are totally out of their mind and being total psychos, and probably could use a silencer on the gun. No, they go in with a freaking shotgun and a rocket launcher just to kill one dude in the kitchen, but they, blow up the entire casino or the entire restaurant, kind of that. And of course, they get shot and get stabbed and whatever, but worth it, kind of, I believe. So this is great scene where they have like geared up in the elevator with like every kind of, one guy goes in with a chainsaw and I don't know. And he wanted to have those guys. They're fighting each other if necessary. It's like freaking redneck syllables. And I don't know.
Hillbilly, just craziness.
Hillbilly fucks. So, and he wanted to have like a stable like this. Said, okay, it sounds great. So we started like making gear, starting out just creating this image and whatever, like how we would act like. And they did not give us any direction besides be like the Tremor Brothers. So we tried to figure out what could we do. But inside the rulebook of WWE, so you cannot, just do something to the official, or you cannot just go nuts because every time they tell you, yeah, but you have to stay inside the rules because also you want to win the matches. So it was pretty hard in the beginning. But before we debuted, I remember the TVs, we had everything ready. And then Nikki came to us. And since he's there in NXT, I was friends with Damo at that time. Before like WWE, and still friends with him, one of my best friends. But I know Nikki is his fiance. So I was taking care of her, just have a look, and also from a different culture as well. And she got culture shocked and homesick really bad. So kind of like, just taking care of her in the way like, hey, just give her some advice, what I did, etc., etc. So we always talked together as well because, there was already a good group connection there with her. And she told us like, hey, I'm a part of the group. We kind of, just, bullshit around. I was just fucking us. Good, cool. No, you get your check. No, guys, I'm serious. I'm with you. Debuted. I was really, fuck yeah, that's great. Because we saw right away the picture of it, like the entire site goes. And I remember Triple H described it as the best. Everybody's like holding guns in their faces, right? So kind of imagine the situation. We kind of like playing around. Should I pull the trigger? Should I pull the trigger? And she's the person takes the gun out of the hand. Boom.
Yeah.
Why are you waiting? Let's go. Kind of. She eventually is the person who pulls the trigger. We said, that's a fucking great idea.
And she elevated that group so well, and the characters that you guys played, because you weren't all just being. And I think in a lot of cases, they put a group of go out and be psycho killers and they all go out and act the same way, but obviously talking their own way. You were different in a lot of ways because you were just like that little, that look of like, holy shit, this motherfucker actually could be crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know what wrestling is, right? And a lot of people do. But when I would see you in that ring, like coming down the ring, I used to sit there and go, holy shit, this motherfucker could have like a couple of screws loose. And to be able to take someone like me out of the element and to believe in that moment, like, fuck, like the whole package of Sanity to me was one of the best stables put together in recent years, really, because everyone had a different part of that role and it all meshed well.
Even like so Sawyer Fulton, he got injured after we did our big stage debut NXT takeover for the pre-show, and he got injured there by doing the double team finish. He tore his tag. He tore his pec. Ooh. And again, like devastating, and they took him out of the group because they mentioned we cannot stop right now. We have to go. We cannot wait till we will drop it. It has to go right now. So they took him out the crew. It was bitter for him. It was not cool, and we all just been kind of like bummed out from that. But his replacement in the end was Big Damo. So back in the day, Killian Dane, and with him in there was a great another part of it, and total difference towards like Sawyer's character. So everybody had their own character. With that being said, it was a great group, especially like with Nikki. You had this female part in the group who's not really just being like diva-like female. The first intention was the debut. Let's hide it that she's a female as best as possible. So she had to go to Walmart, buy yourself some baggies, buy yourself a big hoodie, a zipper, whatever, bandana. We all came out with a bandana just to hide ourselves. And then it was not the plan just to keep it on the entire time, but then it stick to the whole character and to the whole thing. Like, anarchist, you would be in the riots, or you cover your face, that police cannot
Mm.
disguise you and everything. And then with Nikki, the part was great because I remember the debut we had when she attacked Dillinger, Ty Dillinger, now Sean
Yeah.
Spears, and just pounded on him, and you had to pull her off, and she was going again. And then EY as the leader just is the guy who was able to kind of control the uncontrollable. So the dynamic between us was awesome. And then also when Damo came in, you had this beast from Belfast, right? This guy who grew up in the riot time of Ireland, Northern Ireland. So, and he'd been around there as well and do his part. And also, he could wrestle. That was the other thing. You could put him in a match. He always would put his salt and pepper on it, so it would work. And it was the entire fun of the whole deal. It took time because I remember on one television taping, Sawyer and I, we got not really in trouble, but we got kind of like pulled to the side, and they told us, "Hey, you guys have to, wrestle like psychos, not like wrestlers. Forget the wrestling part." Because if I remember, Triple H was a bit furious that I wrestled too much, and I love wrestling. I'm good in wrestling, doing holds and stuff and transitions and catch wrestling. That's my thing. But like it was kind of like Alexander Wolfe is a psycho. Yeah, I would probably take a finger and try to break it, but I would not go around and just put you down in a nice takedown and just be crisp and clean and smooth and whatever. I would basically grab your nose and pull you down and just knock you, a teeth out and just, show everybody around that I got something collected. I don't know, like some psychopath shit. So, but I can adjust easily. I did that, and then we went.
Yeah, and I think even with like Eric Young as the leader, like I've always said, Eric Young is one of those guys who's probably one of the most versatile people in professional wrestling. You need a guy to do a comedy mid-card spot, bang, he's your guy. You need someone to main event your show and be your world champion. He's the guy that can carry it. You want him babyface, you want him heel. Where do you want it?
Everything. He was even a great women's champion.
Exactly, in the Knockouts tag champ. But
he's amazing though.
It's funny, when you mentioned Nikki Cross, because I really feel like looking at her work now, going into like the Nikki Ash character and seeing that, when you saw the transition, because I thought when Nikki Cross was with you guys and was with Sanity, and they had that level of craziness, like they've done crazy women angles before, but this was completely different. She wasn't made up to the
same league.
Yeah, she wasn't made up to the hilt. She was like
committing to the whole character so much. We all did. And after we got called up to SmackDown and she kind of got left behind, the best thing for her ever. So we probably should stayed with her before we went up for SmackDown with probably zero build up in every character was just, but I think that's what they wanted. But like with her, like her commitment to the whole character, and I saw it like live in person where we just been like vibing off and like promo skits and whatever, just on the fly, just being all over the board. Like her commitment to the whole character was top notch. Like I never saw anybody like this, like committing to that. Also, that's why this Nikki ASH stuff went off great. That's why she became a world champion, because her idea, her commitment to her work. And she's a true professional, and like for me, one of the best female talents in WWE. So it works because she put the effort in and because she's great.
She got it over, and that's the thing. Like when I first saw the Nikki ASH or Nikki Ash character, my first reaction when I was talking to other people that are in the business, I asked, "Is this a burial?" And everyone went, "Looks like it." And then word came out that she came up with the idea. And even if it was a burial, she's gone and gotten it over. So that's if it was that intention, she's basically stuck it, straight back and said, "Hey."
She had the idea and she pitched it, and Vince liked it.
Yeah.
And I remember like when she had the idea, she wrote everything down, and she had always a good connection to Vince McMahon. And he always is open for a chat. And when he got the time, he takes the time for a talent, no matter what. Right? And there's a lot of like stories about him, whatever, but that's just 50% of the entire story. And trust me, there are a lot of like guys out there, they they look as victim, but in the end it's their own mistake, because it is what it is. But in the end, like with Nikki, was always the thing. She went to Vince and she gave her presentation and something he needs to read and whatever. It's nothing he had really to do to go into the work mode of something. It's kind of when I show you a picture about, hey, you like this outfit? Boom, here's the outfit. So really easy. And he liked the idea, and also because it's what WWE is, and that's like put smile on people's faces, right? It's for the kids, and it's more an entertainment. It's a PG era where you have to create a friendly product, and also with like all the Marvel and stuff, whatever, like Mrs. Marvel, or no, what is it? Mrs. Marvel, Miss Marvel, the comic character. Yeah. So when you see the outfit, kind of like, oh, with the little mask in there, people bought it, literally bought it, but like they got behind it, and it's the thing. It looked like a barrier because it's so different than towards, like, okay, you have like the crazy Nikki Sanity character, then she got up to the main roster and was this, okay, we have you more like to a real person character with Alexa Bliss, but you're still ready to go. And then you transition over to the person where you're probably a different persona. You're still Nikki Cross, but now you're Nikki ASH. And now you're a superhero. And everybody thinks, oh my God, not a superhero. And then she gets pushed, and then people dig it and get behind it. And of course, it's not everybody's cup of tea, right? But
Sure.
it's amazing to see that hard work pays off in the end. And, if
And you know what?
anybody
She's
deserves
probably
it,
open.
it's her.
And you know what? She's probably opened up ways to earn more income in merch with Nikki ASH than she was able to open up with Nikki Cross. So if she's able to make more money for herself, hey, all the best. I think she's had a phenomenal run with it. She's got it over, which, as you said, you see a superhero gimmick, you're like, oh, fuck, here we go again. But if you can go and get it over with the crowd, then it's a success.
Of course. And if you sell some merch with it, like the corporate stuff is happy, right?
Oh, absolutely. But following, being with Sanity and the split there, because like, with you, like pretty soon, like not too long after, you were put with Imperium and that sort of stable with, Walter, Bartholomew, and I'm just trying to think of the other guy's name. I just
Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner.
Fabian Eichmann, but yeah, that's right. And how was that presented to you? Because that's like a completely different altogether, like stable altogether. When they're like, we're going to take you and put you in NXT UK, and this is the stable that we're going to put you together. So how did that mesh for you?
So Marcel and Walter are longtime wrestling friends. Also one of my big and best wrestling friends. I know him for probably almost over 10 years for sure. So Walter and Marcel, I met them the first time around 2008, right? So, and since then, like, I think with Walter a little bit later, and Walter is a big part of my career as well, of my success career, because he was the top dog in WXW, and he was willing to work with me together as a younger talent and just put me on the map a little bit, because we both had the same passion and the same attention on how we see the business of professional wrestling. And with Marcel as well, been good with him, been friends with him since the day we met. We met first time at the show in Denmark, and then we toured for weekends, and got along great and had the same humor still to this day and everything. So best friends in wrestling for sure. I got signed to WWE, and we started to come up with a brand called Ringkampf. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So Ringkampf was the idea because we all three just been very passionate about professional wrestling and also like the tradition, and especially with Marcel. Now his name is Ludwig Kaiser, is in SmackDown with Walter. His name is now Gunther. And both just been, again, very passionate, and me as well. And we always used to hang out. It was kind of like a clique atmosphere there. We got along. We had the same thought. We just been straight honest to us and being good friends. And before the show, we wrestled around, we crabbled around, then we partied after the show. everything was great there. So, but I left 2015, and before I left, we decided just to do a brand called Ringkampf. We had a logo, everything, yada yada yada. And then 2016, they kind of brought it into the wrestling business more and just used it for onstage characters. And then Timothy Thatcher, he joined. So those three guys built Ringkampf in WXW, the stable. I was in NXT, so I was kind of like one of the members, but I never on stage members. Yeah. That being said, 2018, Waldo debuted for NXT UK. And Marcel was signed 2017 in Orlando, in NXT. He came to Orlando. Then NXT UK got together, and they put Walter and Fabian Eigner, Marcel got together as a team. Boom. Mm-hmm. And then those two with Walter together as a team. On my side, Sanity wasn't working on the main roster. So on 2019, where the draft was, they splitted Sanity off. EY, Raw, Demo back to NXT, and Hunter, Triple H, he said, you go to NXT UK and you get together with your old friends. And I was asking, oh, you want to do Ringkampf? He said, yeah, but without the name. Because a lot of people don't know that Kampf is not only a book, it's also a word for fighting. So, but no, he said, you go together, and then 4 guys together, one group, one big stable for NXT UK. I want that you guys lift up the product right there with the other lots and everything. He wants to grow the talent pool there and like the quality of it. And then like future plans, kind of you split up from then, you will feud with Walter, yada, 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 yada. So then the pandemic hit and all like the plans got like frozen, and then kind of like, you got lost in the shuffle ish, or like in the dark or whatever, because pandemic, you could not do many shows. And then Marcel and Fabian being in the States, Walter and myself being in Europe. Yeah.
It's kind of like a victim by a bad circumstance, really.
It is. Otherwise, they would have put back Sanity together. That was the plan.
So the whole plan was
having EY coming down from Raw to NXT, put him down with Demo again. They would come over to NXT UK, would win the tag belts, would get in the altercation with Imperium. But I'm kind of like, oh, it's my old buddies. What could I do? Eventually, I'm not focused anymore. They would, split me off. Imperium probably would get a beating. Then in the end would make the save for Damo and Eric, and then you would have Imperium against Sanity. Boom.
And it sort of writes itself, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And so every time when I tell somebody the plan is being like, why they did this? Yeah, they couldn't do it because EY got released, the first big releasing part of that. And then, he could not came back. Or he could, but he did not. So, but in the end, like, they ruined it. And guess who was the guy who stood there? Why? It was Triple H, because he did not know. Budget cut.
And it's unfortunate. It's like almost like getting the rug pulled out from underneath you completely. And it sounds like that happens quite a bit over there, so
it's what it is. You sign up and you get what you get. Eventually, like, nobody stays there forever. Some, but let's say 95%.
Yeah. I mean, when you got your release from WWE, were you expecting it coming, or was it something that came out of left field for you?
I wasn't expecting it, and the reason is I was in a TV program right now. I was in the process of splitting up from Imperium, but nobody gave us a heads up on any future plans. And I was thinking, hey, me and Damo getting back together as a team. Maybe they want to do like a Sanity 2.0, but EY was good with Impact right now, so he was busy. And we thought like somebody else, who knows? But I was sure that, okay, I will split up from Imperium, I will feud with Imperium, and then there's more to come. But then I got the call, and I knew my contract came up, and I was already like just filling out the process of, hey, just let you know, my contract is coming up, so Let's get together and talk. And I was planning to go full time for NXT UK because I wanted to move back from America to Germany because of like my son and my wife. It's probably like just to have him grow up with grandparents, and also
Yeah,
my wife,
absolutely.
her friends and family also here in Germany. And in America, everything was fine for me, but my wife wasn't that happy because she was most of the time by herself and with my son. So just being in a nice big house is kind of like being the bird in the golden cage, but you want to fly, right? So
Yeah.
right now, life is way better and happier for her and for us. But in that time, we kind of decided, hey, let's move back to Germany, because also during the pandemic, we had the time like just to see like how is the sun on the German side right there, because we went to Germany and we couldn't travel back because of travel restrictions and the border
Mm.
closes and everything. So we kind of like stuck in Germany and just built up a second life there. And then the plan was to travel six months Florida, 6 months Germany. So, but in the end, we
Beautiful idea,
decided
man.
to move back full time. And also, living is not as expensive as in the States. So you would probably
Sure.
get more for your money. Yeah, but in the
But
end, it
also, I
was
think having that support as well when you've got children and stuff like that, it's so
yeah,
important. And having your parents, your in-laws, your friends, and stuff like that, it's again, like I said, for you being over there by yourself, I think it being in a single man game, maybe that's what NXT really is that single
yep,
man's game. But
yep,
once you're married and have kids, it puts that strain on that lifestyle, the home lifestyle, I can imagine.
yep, of course. Do you want to do a short sponsor break? Let me go do another break. That's okay.
Absolutely, we're actually just about to wrap it up now.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, look, absolutely, we are going to just play a quick game of guess the Australian slang, and then we'll wrap it up. So we'll give it a couple minutes. But this is guess the Australian slang with Axel Tischer. We're going to start this off. How it works is I'm going to give Axel an Australian slang word or an Australian sentence, and he's going to tell me what it means. Axel, you've never been to Australia, but you've hung out with some Australians. Did you pick up any of the slang?
Some of it, but my prediction is I will fail miserably.
All right, well, we'll get into it. All right, so you ready to get started?
Yep.
All right, first one is bogan. Okay, bogan. My uncle
Bogan.
Daryl is a bogan. He's a dead set bogan.
Um, Something like a funny guy, maybe.
Yeah, I'll give you that. A bogan is kind of like an Australian redneck, if so to speak, like someone who's very
Okay.
rough around the
Country,
edges.
countryside. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'll give you that one. Okay.
Okay. Thank
So,
you.
so here's another one for you. This one is bloody oath. Bloody oath, mate. Bloody oath.
Bloody ehrlich? Sorry, that was German. Honest. So he's very honest.
Yep, that's yeah, it
There we
means
go.
very true, like saying bloody oath. Yeah, that's very true, very honest. Okay, so next one is bludger. Mate, dead set. This guy is a fucking bludger. Sits on his ass all day. He's a bludger.
So he's lazy.
Mate, you're 3 for 3. You are going really well here.
Here we
All right,
go.
so all right, we're going to make it a little bit difficult. All right, we're going to pick it up a little bit here, and we're going to go into the hard one. So this one is budgie smuggler.
A what?
This is budgie smuggler. Okay, so I'll put it in a sentence for you. Oh, geez, my dad's over at my house, and he's by my swimming pool. He's in his budgie smuggler.
Could it be underwear or something, or he has something funny like to swim, like in underwear, kind of?
It's like a Speedo.
Ah, yeah. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
what.
yeah.
Yes, swimming
Okay.
underwear stuff. Cool.
Yeah, no worries. So
Four
we go
straight,
another
right?
one. Sorry, yeah. That's it. So we'll go one more. So this one's going to be a little bit of a multiple choice. Okay, so this one is going to have a few in there. So it's going to have Bottle-O,
Bottle-O?
Servo, Bottle-O, Macca's.
Hmm?
All right, so there's 3 there. So Hey, mate, before you come to my place, can you go past the servo and pick me up a packet of darts? Go past the bottle-o, pick up a slab, and maybe swing past Macca's and grab something to eat.
The last one is McDonald's.
Yep. We'll give you that.
Okay. We have the bottle would be something to drink, because bottle maybe bottle of water.
Bottle-o is a liquor store, so where you go to like the alcohol shop. So you go to Bottle-o, pick up a slab.
Okay. That's why
Bottle-o, pick me
the
up a case
bottle.
of beer.
Okay.
And the last one is servo.
Wasn't liquor is this legal in Australia?
What is?
Like liquor? No, that's probably
Liquor.
Canada, where you have to go to a liquor store just to get some liquor.
Liquor as in like alcohol, or?
Yeah.
No, you can go to a bottle shop, liquor store, and they sell beer, alcohol, all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But the last one here was servo. Can you tell me what
servo? So let's say when you go to McDonald's for some food and a bottle for liquor, maybe cigarettes.
A servo is it's a service station, so like a petrol station, something along the lines of that.
Okay, so that's confusing for me, because for liquor and stuff like this, you can go to this gas station as well. But when
really?
Why you go first to the gas station for what? For gasoline?
Like
to bring
petrol, pack up a pack of cigarettes, whatever it may be. You go past the liquor store, pick up a case of beer, go past Macca's, grab a couple of sneaky cheesies, and you're on your way.
Sneaky cheesies, I like that one. No, that's cool. But like servo is like for service station, like the short term, and bottle is like some kind of bottle, but not the bottle of water. It's kind of like that liquor bottle. Cool.
Yeah, bottle store, liquor store. We just got in Australia. We put an O on everything, right? So, like a lot of my friends will call me Piers. My friend Matt, we call him Matto, Benno, stuff like that. We abbreviate fucking everything here in Australia. And there's also like the Australian oxymoron, which is yeah, but nah. So someone goes, "Hey mate, you want to come out for a beer?" Yeah, nah.
It's like yes, not.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
But that has been Guess the Aussie Slang. Axel, thank you very much for coming on. Tell me, where can everyone find your merch and also social media where they can support you and some upcoming shows?
So I start with the social media stuff. I only have Instagram and Twitter, and you can find me there on Xmen3016 and Xmen3016 on Instagram. So the first one is Twitter, and 3016 Wolfe on the end is Instagram. Then on my profiles, you have a link tree. You can find the links to my Pro Wrestling Tees merchandise, also my sponsors merchandise, where I have like different kinds of promo codes. I have a podcast, but it's just in German, so probably nothing for English speaking community. But yeah, also there is my entrance theme. You can listen on Spotify. It's made from a very good friend of mine. His artist name is X Hightower X, and the song is called The Howling. And what else? Cameo. And yeah, again, just go on my Instagram stuff and you find like the link tree and the next shows coming up, the next big important shows. Their next big important show would be, every show is important, but we talked before of that, it's kind of from the local show to like a bigger promotion, would be May 15th in London for Progress, Higher Than the Mountain. It's a qualifier match for the Super Strong Style tournament, beginning of June. And then will be a double header for mid of June, WXW. I debut soon in Italy for promotion, who makes a good commercial. And yeah, it's like I'm all over the place right now in Europe. Want to be a little bit more exposed in the UK at the moment, so everything is going well. And then we'll see.
Progress is maybe the place to be for that.
Progress is the place to be, of course. Also, Wrestling Carnival is a nice newer promotion, does a great job. And yeah, let's see what comes up. Definitely up for some international tours. So I would love to be soon in America again, maybe in Japan, maybe in Australia. who knows? But you also find a link to my booking email address. So if any promoter or whatever wants to book me and wants to send me a booking inquiry, you can take that booking address, booking_Axel Tischer at gmx.com. And yeah, that's all about myself.
That's it. I think we need to get Axel booked in a show down in Australia. I think you'd be a great addition to any show down here. I think it'd be great to see you down here, and I think a lot of the Australian fans would be excited to see you. But you know, it's been a good conversation when you look up and see it's been an hour and 14 minutes, and it honestly feels like it's been 10. Axel, honestly, this has been one of the best conversations that I've had on this podcast. I'd love to have you back on for a part 2. I hope we can arrange that sometime. So
yeah, I'm up for it. So I used to talk a lot, and I have like to put a lot of details in my story. So that's why it take ages just to get to the point. But yeah, if you're up to, would love to have a part 2. I had fun, and then yeah, again, thanks for the invitation. I really had a great time.
Fuck yeah, me too. Thank you so much. But guys, also please make sure you check out our sponsors, sleeps.com and healthvape.com. Use that promo code MWAPod to get a 10% discount. Check out the other shows we got on our podcast network, like Killing the Business with ECW Original, The Kingpin, Angel Medina, King Mega, Knights of the Gimmick Table with Boogaloo, Lowrider, and Cade Lothbrock. But guys, without further ado, Axel, thank you again so much. But we'll catch everyone again very, very soon. Till then, take care. Peace.